Hello, Cryptonauts, and welcome back to another episode of Cryptocurrency Chat. Today, I'm with my co-host, Cryptonaut Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Awesome, awesome. Now, do you know what Stibits is? Have you heard about Stibits? This is a
Not
new,
much.
not much. Well, that's okay, because guess what? We do actually have somebody on the podcast to talk about Stibits. We have CEO and co-founder Khalid. How you doing, Mr. Khalid?
Doing good. Thank you for having me on. And the
Awesome.
way to pronounce it is actually Stibits. So Stibits. It's a
Stibits.
platform. Yeah, Stibits.
Awesome. Well, go ahead. I want to know what Stibits is about.
Stibits allows you to send and receive cryptocurrency using a human identifier. So, in other words, if I were to send you funds, I can directly send it to your name, your email, or your phone number. And you can get that within the Stibits app much easier than trying to guess the public keys or trying to ask for it. So it kind of connects people with cryptocurrency in a user experience UI graphical user interface. That's the vision of Stibits. Some people that use it, they usually tell me, "Hey, this reminds me of Venmo for blockchain." So that's what kind of feedback we have been getting so far from
That's
users
what
that
that's what
use the
it
product.
looks like. I'm checking out the website. So for the cryptonauts out there listening to the podcast, you go to Stibits, Stibits.com. Stibits.com. Now, that's exactly what it looks like. It looks more or less, I would say, pretty close to like I guess PayPal, right? It looks almost like just a digital wallet, which is pretty cool, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah. That's right on. Yeah, that's just exactly how people have described it as they start using it. Yeah.
yeah. So let's actually go back a little bit. I'm always curious of what my guest speakers are are about, who they are, and what they've done in the past prior to what they're currently doing. So Khalid, if you don't mind, just telling us what you did, because I obviously you did something prior to this, and I'm always curious, what did you do prior to what you're currently doing now?
Well, yeah, the story goes back pretty far back. I would say 10 years, 7 to 10 years ago. I've always been involved in the payment industry, software. I've always loved apps, making product services that help people make things easier. So we started with payments. Um, as you guys know, there's Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and there's something called interchange. So if I were to purchase something from a business owner using a credit card, the business owner ends up paying something called interchange. Interchange, what that does is that the bank distributes the credit card transaction fee. So credit card transaction fee, 2%, 3%, 2.5%, depending on what kind of card you use, right? So let's say I have a Capital One card, and Capital One says, if you use this card, we will give you 2% cash back, or I'll give you 10 airline miles or something like that, right? So most people do not know that the person that pays this 2% is the business owner, right? So if I were to use my Capital One card to buy donuts, I get 2% cash back. Capital One does not give me this 2% cash back. It's the donut shop that gives me the 2% cash back. So they collect it from them and they give it back to me, which has benefits, of course. It allows the donut shop to collect more sales because I am incentivized to shop there. It also benefits the bank. It kind of benefits all parties, and there's many parties involved. And as you guys may know or not know, Apple Pay also comes in the picture. Apple Pay negotiated with Interchange to also get a cut of that transaction. I believe Apple Pay collects maybe 5 basis points or 10 basis points. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
quite sure, but so there's a pie that's waiting to be collected with each credit card transaction. So I was involved in this um, ecosystem for many years, and the company um, that was kind of under the umbrella of was called First Data. First Data is the biggest processing company from what I gather and learn in the world. They do, they were doing, I think, 2,000 transactions a second. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but they were doing a lot of transactions. So one day, um, there was this bulletin board came out or news that Five Serve is another payment processing company, giant company, which was had a more global reach. They announced they would buy First Data. First Data at the time was not blockchain friendly. They were more into interchange, Visa, Mastercard, just doing things the way it's been done for many years. So Pfizer comes out and I read their blogs and they're talking about blockchain one day, blockchain this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. So I said, oh, I should prepare for this. In the meantime, I was already experimenting with blockchain and cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and learning it as much as I could. And this was, I would say, 3, 4 years ago. That's the time frame where announcement came. So I said, I'm already working with First Data. I am helping business owners accept credit cards. I am working on a POS system called the Clover POS. So those users or viewers or listeners that don't know what Clover is a POS system that business owners use to collect um, credit card payments, right?
Yeah.
So I can go to your shop. Yeah, it's pretty abundant now. When it first came out, it was a radically new thing because it was the first POS, from my knowledge, that had an app store. Like iPhone has an app store,
Hmm.
Android has an app store, which is called Google Play. Clover had an app store. They also called it App Store. Now it's called More Tools. I guess Apple probably said you can't use App Store name. But so it's called More Tools. And if you press More Tools, you'll see all these apps. So when this Clover POS came out, I said, wow, I've always wanted to, I know business owners' needs because I speak with them on a daily basis. They're always telling me their pain points. So just some advice to listeners out there. Always listen to pain points. That's how you can make a good product. See where the frustration is, see where the difficulties are, and try to work around that. So the
Oh, that's
pain points were,
fantastic advice.
yeah, the pain points were I can't do this. My POS doesn't do this. I can't do this kind of discount. I can't offer this incentive to a business owner. I can't do a loyalty. But the bigger businesses can do all this stuff. Like Taco Bell can do this, Chipotle can do this. I can't do this, right? So now they have this POS. It's waiting to be programmed to allow them to do these things. So I said, oh, you know what? Now these small mom and pop shops can compete against the bigger brands, right? Because we can write the code into the POS, make an app, and allow them to compete. So this is where the idea of the Clover POS came about to do that. So we started building apps for the Clover POS. Interestingly, the first app we did was something called Fortune Receipt. It was a very simple app. It was just to prove the concept to see if people will gravitate towards this. It was a receipt prints out on the POS, and at the very bottom, it will give you a fortune quote, like almost like a cookie, right? When you go
That's
to a
awesome.
yeah. So when you go to a local shop or a local restaurant, they have Chinese restaurants. They give you a little like Panda. Yeah, what's it called? Panda
Panda
Express. Yeah,
Express.
Panda
Hmm.
Express. Yeah, they give you a little cookie, and you open it, and there's a little quote in there. It's pretty cool. People love that experience. So I figured, hey, you know what? I can do this on the receipt without having a fortune cookie, right? So I said it was a very simple idea, and I worked with my team. I had a developer. We could brainstorm the ideas, what quotes to put in there, and it would randomly generate a different quote for each receipt. So it was simple. But the idea behind it was let's see if this concept works and let's see if people download the app. Let's see if people like it. Let's see if it brings customers again and again. So those were the three things we were looking for. Will people download the app? Will customers like reading the quotes, and will they come again to get another quote? So that's the premise we went off of. So we developed the app, we launched it, and then a few months went by, and I started seeing the downloads trickle. It went, 100, 200, 300. It's kind of picked up slowly. And after that, I just didn't really think too much of it. And then people started talking about it, emailing me like, "This is such a great idea. It's pretty cool." And that even then, it didn't really hit me until I went to my local farmers market in my city to buy some produce. and he has a Clover there. I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, Clover, I programmed this machine, me and my team." He gives me a receipt, and there you go. He has my app installed. I was like, "Whoa!" So when you have an app that's somebody using in your own town, right? It's like really amazing feeling. It's like, whoa, you actually downloaded this app and you're using it. It was just really cool to see that because you're thinking like people that are going to use your app, they're located like different states or different towns, right?
Yeah.
You don't expect them to be in your own town in your closest farmers market. So that was the first glimpse or of me making software um, for a POS or just software in general. And while we were making this, I was learning about crypto in my spare time, blockchain payments, helping business owners, credit card payments, and then Fiserv is announcing that, hey, we're going to become blockchain friendly. We see this as the future. I said, you know what? I should prepare for this. I should learn more and develop an application for blockchain because if you don't innovate, you're gonna slowly disappear.
Oh yeah.
Competitors will come by. So that's how I got into blockchain, how I got into the credit card business. They all kind of came together, and so we slowly started developing something called. I mean, we started developing Stibits um, because I saw the potential of blockchain payments because I was already in payments itself, helping business owners take payments. And step by step, um, we try to get the Stibits app to work with the Clover POS, right? So after some time, we did the first successful POS blockchain transaction using Ravencoin, right?
Wow.
Um, yeah,
Okay,
so
hold
I
on.
made a
Before we move forward,
yeah.
I just want to clarify something for the Cryptonauts out there listening because we actually do quite regularly use the acronym POS. In this particular case, the Clover POS is not proof of stake. It is point of sale. It's a system that you use to create transactions. That's what the Clover machine is, right?
Yes, point of sale. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. I just.
Clover POS is basically a glorified Android device, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
a custom Android tablet, which is programmed or like how you have Square, which uses the iPad.
Yep.
Yeah, Clover uses Android, right? But Android is more open source than iPhone or iOS app or iOS software. So Clover made some kind of agreement with Android to use their underlying software to kind of mold it or work it towards a POS direction. So it's amazing what they did with it. Yeah, it's
Nice.
a point of sale, and within the Clover, it's something they did. I believe they're the first to do it. Maybe another company may have done it, but they did it on a mass scale, which is to develop an app market. So that's how the idea of the software fortune receipt, which I called it, the first app we did, just to kind of test the concept. Do people download software on their POS, or is this something that is not possible or is not willing to do it? But we found out that people do indeed download apps on their POS, and people do indeed want to experiment and try new things to keep their customers, keep them loyal, keep them coming back, compete against the bigger brands. So from that, we developed another app, another app. We did several other apps, but all while doing this stuff, we were already developing, working on Stibits at the same time, as we try to integrate the two together. And then we eventually meshed the two together about 4 or 5 months ago. And I tweeted about it, and it got a lot of retweets, a lot of positive feedback. People really love that because one thing with blockchain is, I'm not sure if you guys know this or not, but I'm sure you do. I did a survey using Survey Monkey because I wanted to see what people think about cryptocurrency. What's the pain points? And unanimously, they said that they can't buy anything with it. It's very hard. They said we have Bitcoin or Ravencoin or Bitcoin Cash, but it's very hard to buy stuff with it. If there was a way for us to kind of walk to a shop and just scan and pay for it,
Mm-hmm.
we would utilize it. This is what the survey taught us. Even though I kind of already knew that, but it's always good to do a survey. So you do a survey with 50, 100 people, um, and the survey indicated that people want to use their cryptocurrency to make payments because right now a lot of people are just hodling, hoping the price goes up. But there's a huge market out there that people want to buy stuff with cryptocurrency. Maybe it's not with Bitcoin, but they want to use maybe Ravencoin or Litecoin. They want to go to the POS. Uh, Instead of giving the credit card, they want to scan their phones, scan the QR code, and the POS does everything by itself. So that was some survey we did, which allowed us to do that. And when we did implement it too, our feedback from Twitter, from users, kind of collaborated or they resonated. In other words, our survey proved to be true based on what people wanted, and when we did it, people liked it. So that's how we kind of realized there was potential in this. And as we await for Fiserv to kind of go with their vision, which when they were first announced to buy First Data, as you know, when you have a big corporation merging with another or buying them out, it takes time for them to finally do what they have in their mission statement,
Mm-hmm.
which is to to I don't have their exact mission statement with me, but their overall long term um, goal is to allow blockchain payments. I think that will happen. I don't know exactly when, but we are ready for it because we have integrated it. So when the time comes and they want to make it native to the app instead of downloading an app, we can collaborate with Fiserv and say, hey, this thing that you guys talked about 2 years ago, we have done it. Reach out to us. It's in the app market. You don't have to make it downloadable. You can just make it part of the app because Clover is known for taking an app that's being an app and making it native. Native, in other words, you can say is you don't have to download it. It comes with the Clover. You just turn on the Clover, like iPhone. When you download iPhone, what do you get? You get calculator, you get calendar, you get a bunch of native, you get pre-installed apps.
Mm-hmm.
So my thinking is that Clover will eventually have this payment cryptocurrency built into without the user having to download the app to accept it. Just like how the user does not have to download Visa, Mastercard, or different payment options.
Yeah.
It's built into it. What they call tender. Which tenders do you accept? Do you accept check, cash, credit card, and then they can have an option for blockchain. So
Right. So
yeah, I think that's yeah.
I'm glancing through your website, and I actually have a couple questions on this. But before we do that, I want to ask you, Khalid. You said that you had your first transaction using the Stibits app with Ravencoin, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Now I have actually a lot of people on the podcast that are from the Ravencoin community. Why? Because I'm part of the Ravencoin community as well, and I really like Ravencoin. So it's nice to have people on the same team get on the podcast and talk more about Ravencoin because it's one of those things that it's just so easy to work with, so easy to adapt, so easy to integrate. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece of technology. Um,
Yep.
my next question for you, Khalid, is when did you get into Ravencoin? Like when did you first hear about it, and what like triggered you to get into it? Like, oh, this is something that I want to check out and definitely work with.
Yeah, Ravencoin came about when we were developing apps for the Clover POS. One of my team members, who later is my co-founder with Stibits, he introduced me to Ravencoin. He said, "Hey, there's a great coin, a new cryptocurrency. It's a fork of Bitcoin." He just kind of explained the whole process to me. At first, it took me a while to figure it out, look it up, read about it, read the white paper, understand it. And he told me about it. I started just trying to learn more and more about it. And he told me right when it came out, 2018, very early in the early stages.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I think you're right. I think you're onto something because this does look like a promising project. And he said, hey, and I've already in my mind mapped out that we have to learn this technology, blockchain, make it work with payments, And then he also had his vision about building an ecosystem. And so we kind of talked about it, collaborated. What can we do with Ravencoin? What can we do with payments? And so what happened is that Tron and Ravencoin team in Utah were already working, and they were looking for developers and trying to build out the Ravencoin ecosystem. So I said, hey, my co-founder Ben, he goes by Ben Motaz. I said, I think he suggested the idea to me that he should go to Utah and help out with this project. I agreed. I said, you know what, that's a great idea. Go ahead, let's do that. So we flew. He's the technical side of all this stuff. I have some technical skills, but he's super technical. So I said, you know what? Let's support this project. Let's you can go ahead and go to Utah. I will cover the expenses. Um, so that's how he got involved in the project. He started working with the team over there, build out, helped as much as he could, and the Ravencoin wallet he helped contribute to that, the code and all that. And
Nice.
he was there for about 3 to 6 months, just providing his skill set, which uh, which he still continues to offer on the side here and there. But from learning about Ravencoin, the Clover blockchain, he started seeing the potential, like I was seeing the potential. As you know, when there's technical co-founder and then there's the other co-founder who's not so technical, some things that I may see possible, he will see it through a technical lens. He says, well, it's possible, but we have to do it this way to get there, right? So I'm always collaborating with them, like, hey, I want to do this. Can we do that? He says yes, but we have to do this, and then he's very technical. So some words he uses with me, I have to look it up and like try to figure out what he's talking about. But that's how companies are formed. You
Yeah,
had Steve
actually, so
Wozniak and
far
you had
what I've
Steve Jobs.
noticed,
Yeah,
talking with you is that you're absolutely a CEO. You talk like one, you think like one, you have a vision, and you are just focused on that, and that's like CEO power 100% right there. No joke. I mean, it's awesome to talk to you, just to hear you. That's so influencing. I love it. Um, I do have a question.
go
Did
for
you
it.
did you do any mining of Ravencoin, or did you actually work on any other blockchain in regards to like mining or just testing out code?
Yeah,
Any?
yeah, I did. Yeah, I did mine in the early days. I bought some GPUs. I had about 10 of them, I believe, or nine, something like that. I did mine it for many, many months. One thing with me is I always want to dab into stuff just to, even though I'm not technical, but just doing it allows you to see what's going on. So whether that's mining, whether you call that, going behind the code and looking at it, just for me to, like with websites, I like to kind of like log into the back end, just kind of see it, even though I may not fully understand it, but I like to appreciate it just to see like the code being written,
Absolutely.
just to kind of see the flow. So even with mining, while I was mining, I still, I don't fully comprehend, how it's distributed, all these things. But just doing it kind of allows me to kind of see what the technical people are so excited about. So yeah, I did mine for many many months. It was a great opportunity for me.
Khalid, sorry about the dog that's barking in the background. That is the crypto dog. Every single
No
time,
problem.
keep in mind, the dog doesn't bark when I'm not doing a podcast. Only when I'm doing the podcast, the dog will bark. So all the listeners out there know the crypto dog. Only when I'm on the podcast. So yeah, I wanted to ask you. Actually, you know what? I want to know more about you, but actually, let's move forward. Let's move forward. We'll probably save some more questions for another podcast. Now, in regards
Yeah.
to Stibits, my question on that is: it looks like it's a non-custodial wallet, right? It's a non-custodial a crypto wallet, and it looks like it. What you can do is deposit your crypto and then use tap to pay features directly from your phone through the app to make purchases in real time. Is that how it works, more or less?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's non-custodial. So we did something pretty innovative with the app. And as you know, we're always updating the app. I mean, lately we've been updating the app like twice, three times a week, four times a week. We're just constantly improving it. So here's how it works. You create your human identifier. So when you install the app, it's pretty simple. I'll walk the audience, the listeners, how to do it. So iOS App Store, Android coming soon. Maybe by the time you're hearing this podcast, check the Android store too. But as of right now, as of what today's date, April, it's available in the iOS App Store. When you download the app, it'll ask you your name, your email, phone number, right? This way, users can send you um, cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ravencoin, and more cryptocurrency will be added soon right to your human identifier. So I can see, for example, I can say there's, let's say somebody's, I download the app and then I recognize my buddy John is on there. Well, I find John and I make sure it's the same John with the same phone number that I know, not another John. I can just send him cryptocurrency. Same thing with their email. So I can search somebody's email that I know. Obviously, the email the person's not shown, but if you know their email, you can send it to them like PayPal, right? You put their email address in there. If PayPal sees that email exists on their records, you can send it to them. If it doesn't, you can't. It'll give you an error or tell you this person does not exist. So Stibits, it kind of utilizes the same kind of mindset or same approach to make it work. So once you create your profile, you have your 12 words, which you are given the option to back up. So early on, we found out that most people do not back it up. How did I find this out? Well, I had my buddy Chris and some other users download the app, and when they lost their phones or when they did something or they forgot their password and they had some cryptocurrency in there, they're like, oh my gosh, Khalid, how do I get my coins? I lost my phone or this happened, that happened. So we found out early on that no matter how many warnings you put up on the app to write down your 12 words, people don't do it. They don't even take a screenshot.
Oh yeah,
So
I've
what we
I've done that many times. Actually, as part of my personal history as well. I've actually lost my private keys one time when I was moving from one place to another, and in the process, I misplaced my private keys. And I tell everyone the stories that now I just kind of sit there and look at my crypto on the blockchain, like, yeah, I used to own that. Now I don't know where my private keys are at, and I can't access those coins
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah, yeah.
So
You see your funds on the blockchain. Yeah, especially early Bitcoin people. They're probably watching their 500 grand just sit there. Yeah. So what we did was I talked to my co-founder. I said, "Hey, here's the struggles we're facing. What's a technical way of solving this? Because we want to, the idea of Stibits is to make it easier, not harder. Because we can't get everybody to save it." And he went back to the drawing board, got together with the rest of the team. He said, "Hey, let's do this. Those people that don't want to write it down, we can save it to iCloud, right? Their seed phrase, the 12 words, so that way, in case they don't write it down, they have a backup. And most people trust iCloud. Some people don't. Those that trust it feel iCloud can protect, their coins, or in case they lose their phone. I mean, what's worse, losing your phone with 50,000 Ravencoin or 10 Bitcoin and not being able to get it, or have it on iCloud and finding another phone, installing Stibits and press restore from iCloud, right? So I would go with
right,
that restore option, right? So
yep.
some people, there's two sides. I know there's some people that are really hardcore with non-custodial. No server should have access to my private keys. It should all be on my phone. Nobody else can touch it. We don't like custodial. Yeah, that's true. But then when you go into the real world, people are not writing it down, right? So what's
Yeah.
the advantage if you can't force, or you can't, I can't tell people, hey, if you don't write it down, you can't use the app no longer because you're not following the rules, right? I can't do that. I can't force them, but I
especially
can
since
say, hey,
especially since it's
yeah,
non-custodial and you don't really have the I don't from my understanding you don't even have that privilege to do anything with their wallets because it's non-custodial, so and from my understanding you can't do anything. There's nothing you can do.
yeah, yeah. So why not make it super simple for them? When they install the app, it
Hmm.
asks you a question. Would you like to back this up to iCloud? Yes, no, right?
Yeah.
Back it up. And if you do, and then maybe maybe you have some cryptocurrency, and then 6 years later, you're like, hey, you know what? 6 years ago, I downloaded this app called Stibits, and I remember I had like some cryptocurrency, and now it's worth like $80,000. Let me see if I can get it. So you go to, it's like you go to your, and you don't even have to have the Stibits app no longer. Let's say Stibits app at that time, you're no longer using it. Go to your iCloud, and you have your keys right there, right? So so yeah, we're just trying to help users, make it easy for them in case that does happen to them. So it does it automatically by a simple request, and then you can have it saved to iCloud. So if you lose your phone, download Stibits app on a different phone, it's going to say, hey, we recognize your iCloud. You have a backup here. You want to restore it? Press restore. Everything is back, good to go.
Nice.
If you lose your phone again, just repeat the same process. If you go, you know what, I don't trust iCloud no more because Apple did this and that, and their privacy is not good enough, I don't trust them, remove from iCloud, right? So you can do that, and then just write it down, the 12 words, put it in a safe somewhere. You have the paper version as well, or you can have both versions. So it's just giving users more options to do that. So that's the goal of Stibits, is to build out this ecosystem. As we see trends happening, we pivot. We're not set in a specific way where we're gonna build exactly this one thing. And if people are asking for this and this, we're not gonna be like, no, we already have this one roadmap. We didn't have in the roadmap that we're gonna back up to iCloud. But when we saw people using it and getting their feedback, we're like, oh, we have to solve this problem. So,
That's
we're
interesting
always
because there's only one other wallet that I know that does this, and that's the Coinbase non-custodial wallet. They're the only ones that I know other than Stibits that does this, and I believe it's the same reason customers are complaining that they don't have access to the wallet, and thinking that Coinbase is a centralized entity that they're able to tap into a non-custodial wallet, but nope, that's not necessarily true because if you're in charge of your own private keys, then it is what it is. Like you are your banker. Period. No one
yeah.
else has access to that other than you and your private keys. So
Yeah, like Andre said, your keys, your coin with great power comes great responsibility, right? So when you have all that responsibility of protecting your funds, you have to be vigilant not to lose those keys, because if you do, you lose your money. There's no 1-800 number to call in to get your money back. So it's good to have that backup option just in case. Yeah, Coinbase, yeah, custodial wallets offer that. I'm sure other companies will follow what we're doing. Maybe some of them are already working on this. But it's good to give users options, because again, our vision was to make it easy for the mass users, for the majority of users, and we want to see people, that never doesn't know about cryptocurrency, open the app and say, hey, I want to send my son some cryptocurrency. One thing we were talking about is saying, allow our grandmas and grandpas use cryptocurrency, make it super simple for them. They don't have to write down nothing. They just open the app, like Venmo,
mhm.
uh, make the user experience very fluid, easy, just simplify it for them. So we're constantly struggling, to do that, make it easier,
I'm
along the
kind
way.
of that's an amazing thing. I like the way that you're. See, once again, that's why you are the CEO because you have this vision. You are trying to simplify this for the layman person out there. So easy. I like. I'm telling you, man. I'm starting to become a fan of you right away, Khalid. I like the way you
Yeah.
think. I like the way you think. Um,
But yeah, all credit doesn't always go to me too. I mean, my co-founder Ben, he also plays a huge role, because when we have two people with two different visions. I wouldn't say two different visions, but two different experiences. They kind of come together and make things work. A lot of if you read the stories of founders, they're always one technical and one non-technical. Typically, that's the case. Steve Wozniak, Apple job. I'm not comparing, that we're like that, but I'm just saying that
Oh
it's
that's
yeah.
pretty
typically
cool. That's pretty cool.
typically yeah, typically it comes like that. You got Bill Gates, and then you got what was his co-founder's name? Forgot his name. You guys know his name? I know he
Mm,
passed away recently.
Um,
So
what's his name? Sorry.
yeah, yeah, it's I can look it up, but your listeners can find out co-founder. of Microsoft.
So,
Yeah, Paul Allen. There you go, Paul
Paul
Allen. Okay.
Allen. Oh,
So
okay.
Paul Allen was the even though Bill Gates was also a coder, he himself, but Paul Allen also was his other half that he came to in terms of forming a company came together. So yeah, all
So
credit does not go to
Ben,
me.
so Ben is your Paul Allen.
He is the Steve Wozniak. I mean, the
Ah,
coder. Yeah,
okay.
Paul Allen. Yeah, yeah. I haven't read too much about Paul Allen, but I know he played a significant role
Let me
in
ask you
in
something, Khalid. So
yeah.
in regards to your transitions from Clover to creating the Fortune receipt app and now working on Stibits, I noticed that you used the word team. You're always using the word team. This team, my team, or our team. Is it the same team that you worked with since the beginning, or have you
Yeah,
been able to just transition with another group and be able to mold with a new project?
that's a great question. One thing I try to do is try to keep people motivated, passionate, and I've been very fortunate to keep most people still working on the project and staying intact, which is very hard to do these days. Like Bill Gates said, if it wasn't for the top 10 in his company, the rest would be almost difficult. The rest of the employees usually it's the like top 10 that kind of makes everything come together, and of course all the other employees benefit the whole company as well. So I always try to keep the top original people that helped, we collaborated with, we started working together, on board, because they know the history, they know what we went through, they know how everything comes together. And 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 when other employees want to join the team, um, they see that the people stuck around through difficult times, through easy times, and it kind of motivates them that they're onto something great because they went through all these ups and downs, and they're still pushing, and they're still building, and they're still growing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, when I say team, like on my Twitter profile, by the time you read this, it may change. I mentioned on there that talent wins games. I got this quote from somebody, and I used it on my Twitter profile. So I'll read it to you right now. Talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence wins championships, right? So that's why I use the word team, because it's not just me. I try to express the vision, but of course, it's the team behind it that we execute, because there's lots of things that, it's very overwhelming if you try to do it by yourself. You
See,
have to delegate the tasks to the
See,
right
Khalid,
people.
Khalid, that's why you have the title CEO, man. You're keeping the team together. That's a beautiful thing, man. That's not an easy job either, man. It does get stressful without a doubt, and that's why you're holding that username right now that you got. You're holding it very proudly, I assume. The 10x rule. That's straight from Grant Cardone himself. So I'm guessing you are a Grant Cardone fan, right? Grant Cardone is an
It's the
awesome guy.
latest book I read. It's the latest book I read. If you work hard, you can magnify things. It takes a lot of it's just to kind of remind me. I use that for my Discord. I was coming up with a name, and I just at that time I was reading his book, and I was like, oh, let me just read, because all the names I was trying to take was taken. So
Yeah.
I just used the name.
So
Yeah,
speaking
I
of
try
working
to read.
hard, speaking of working hard,
Yeah.
can you be honest? How many hours do you put in a day during the most heaviest times of coding of developing this particular product?
Um, uh, well, I don't typically code it. I do some back end work, which is not coding. It's mostly right now. Most of the efforts I put is trying to, let me see how I can word it. So right now I'm doing both the Clover and the Stibits. Right, the Stibits is a blockchain app on the iPhone, and then you have Clover, which is in the businesses, inside businesses.
Okay, so for clarification,
Yeah, yeah.
I thought you actually transitioned out of Clover, but it sort of sounds like now you are still working with Clover.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're still working with Clover because eventually the two will mesh together, right? That's the idea. So
Interesting. Okay.
yeah. So think of it this way. Think of Microsoft building software for IBM, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually Microsoft said, we can, if IBM won't accept us into their ecosystem as a native software, we'll make our own, right? We're not saying we're going to do that, but we have Stibits in case, you know, Clover says, we will not make blockchain payments native into the Clover itself. It has to be installed or something comes along. We always have Stibits, that can with the API integration, people can use it like Shopify, WooCommerce. We'll always have that e-commerce available. But we do wish to make it physical on a POS where people don't have to always rely on internet. They can actually come inside the store and buy it. So we want to offer a
Awesome.
complete API integration. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
So,
Clover, yeah. So Stibits will take some time for it to become, what do you call it, profitable, like any company like WhatsApp, Instagram. What
hmm
you do first is you get users, right? And
right.
then you get thousands, hundreds, millions users, and then it creates a network effect. So our vision is to get lots of users.
The
We don't charge
network
anything for
effect.
the app.
Okay.
We're not do yeah. We're people download it, they start using it. And then even with the Clover, our users right now they're not paying anything to use it on the Clover either. So we're just trying to
Okay.
grow the
Actually,
network.
okay, that was actually one of my questions, and we're going to get ready to wrap it up here in about maybe 10 more minutes. That was actually one of my questions. I'm very curious. You have to feed yourself. You got to feed your team needs to eat. They got families. People need to eat. So there's got to be some sort of income coming in. I,
Yeah,
how
that's
are
what
you?
Clover.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You could finish your question.
I was just going to ask. How are you making any income off of this?
Yeah. Okay. So that's a really great question. So Clover gives you this option to monetize your app in the Clover App Store. So when I mentioned earlier that we had an app called Fortune Receipts, that's just one of the many apps we have. We have discount app, we have coupon app, we have online ordering app, right? We have different apps for the Clover because early on I mentioned that when I used to help business owners with their payment processing, they would give me feedback of what was missing in their POSs, and I've always had that ideas of what they needed, but the POS companies did not allow developers to build on it. The only way to do it was to make your own POS, and like making your own phone, and then doing it that way. Of course, that's very, very difficult to do. So when Clover came along, all those ideas I had in my mind of making those things easier for business owners, we just went step by step, made it. So while we were building the Stibits app, we were already building coupons, discounts. Um, what else? We had online orders, right? So online
Online
orders,
orders.
what happened is during the COVID, online orders just accelerated. I'm sure you guys know this. Everybody started ordering online. So we happened to have that timing correct, where we built an online ordering app for the Clover, which is called Smart Online Order, which you can find in the Clover app. That app, basically, it went up a lot because everybody started looking for an online order app, and we were available, we were ready, and this is how we fund both Stibits. We funded the Clover. We use funds from that too because they all complement each other. Because Stibits is part of the master plan.
Interesting. Okay. Let me ask you. Stibits is on a blockchain, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Which blockchain is it using?
When you say which blockchain is using, so Stibits is more of a it's using the blockchain used right now we have three. We're using Bitcoin, Ravencoin, Bitcoin Cash. Soon we'll add Ethereum and Litecoin and a few other coins we're going to add to it. If you look at the website, it tells you what it's being added. So it's non-custodial. So you have to like T0, like Ravencoin. We also have problems to solve. As you know, blockchain technology. People say it's like the early '90s of the internet.
Yeah.
So there's syncing you have to do, blockchain sync. We're trying to solve that as well, so that way it syncs instantly within a few seconds. I know when I first downloaded the desktop wallet for Ravencoin, I had to wait like 24 hours to sync, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you guys had to go through that. So
Yeah.
we're trying to solve all these things to make it faster,
Now,
easier.
I'm assuming that the
Yeah.
user using Stibits is not having to deal with this, right? I'm assuming that it's going to be just a mirrored copy, allowing them just a light access into these blockchains, right? Into these
Yeah,
networks.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. We're not a smart contract. We're not using Ethereum. No, we're just connecting to the blockchain. Yeah. So like if you go
So
to Raven,
you are hosting. Somebody from the company is hosting these blockchain nodes.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exactly. So
so
that's
if
what
your
we're doing.
hardware goes down, is it cloud based or is it physical based? Are you
We're
guys
using
actually
AWS.
AWS? Okay, all right. That's
Yeah,
good.
I know. Tron recently tweeted out how to do it with DigitalOcean for each user to put out, make to. I think he mentioned something about $25 a month for many users to make a DigitalOcean account and to become a node themselves. Um, so these things all help us out. It helps the whole Ravencoin ecosystem, and it helps with the whole thing. So if the more people that do that, it helps everybody out. So we're trying to work with that as well, trying ways to make the sync faster. So right now, if I were to send you a transaction using Stibits, you'll get it right away, right? So I was talking to Ben, my co-founder, and I said, we know Bitcoin transactions take a long time to get there. You have to wait. Um, and then, but so as I was talking to him, I said, some transactions we can send right away because how many confirmations? I think Binance does 60 confirmations last time I checked. So I was talking to him like we have to do some transactions pretty quickly because if you do it in a POS environment, nobody's going to hang around 10, 15 minutes,
Yeah.
5 minutes to confirm with the business owner they got the funds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before they
Yeah.
walk out. So he was telling me that there's ways where if the transaction is less than $5, he can do less confirmations. If it's more than $50, do more confirmations. Um, these are things that we're discussing. He can explain these things better than me. Sorry, better than me. Um, yeah, he's. I mean, but these are the things that we've experienced in the real world. When we had our first donut shop use Ravencoin transactions, we try to think it through. We go, okay, so let's say a customer comes in there, it buys $6 worth of donuts, and should he wait around there 2 minutes to confirm that, hey, you got the funds, right? Should he wait a minute or so? um, what if he buys $80 and the network doesn't confirm it or something, right? So these are all things we're trying to think through to make it easier for the users.
Interesting.
So if you ever do get Ben on here, you can ask him the same question at the time when we have progressed to make these things more seamless. So it's instant. He can answer that for you.
Are you guys considering a Stibits coin as an airdrop or giveaway or
Actually, that's something we talked about, but as of right now, we have no plans for that.
okay?
And as you guys saw from our last pivot, whenever we see market trends happening and we're doing something similar, we will pivot. And I'm sure you found me by Ravencoin auction or the
Mm-hmm.
auction on Ravencoin
Yep.
on Braveland, Ravencoin campus. So we were already working on a marketplace for NFT purchase, and Joshua reached out to me and said, "Hey, Khalid, we have a virtual world where you can have an office there and to help grow the Ravencoin ecosystem." And he said, if you want to join, you can. I looked into it, downloaded Verbella, visited the campus. As I was walking around, I saw stuff hanging on the wall. I said, you know what? This is pretty cool. I see the possibilities here. NFTs, digital, virtual world, the two connected. I said, you know what? We can put NFTs here in this digital world and people can buy it, right? So I put a tweet out and I mentioned, we're gonna put NFTs up on the walls here, people can buy it. And we had a Ravencoin meetup on a Friday, and after the meetup, I took everybody to the expo hall. I said, "Hey, let's meet up here at the expo hall. There's a portrait of Mona Lisa with the Ravencoin mask. I want to show you guys that you guys can possibly buy in the future. So everybody surrounded the Mona Lisa, and and then I was like, this is interesting. Nobody's leaving. Why is
Yeah.
nobody leaving? So I took advantage of the opportunity. I said, yeah, who wants to offer 50 Raven coins for this Mona Lisa? And next thing I know, people were like bidding for it and talking about it, and nobody was leaving. So I said, this is interesting. There's some amusement around this possibility. So I tried to become an auctioneer in that split second, which I did
Yeah,
not do a
I
great
was
job.
there. I was there.
Yeah, I was like, well, this is pretty interesting. So, that idea led me to think, this should be let me get a real auctioneer on the next one. And we had a
That
real
was so
auctioneer on the next
great.
one.
He was an amazing auctioneer.
Yeah, Troy. Troy's awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Troy is awesome.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. We're
surprised
gonna
that
have.
I'm surprised so many people watched the YouTube video that I recorded from that auction. So it was pretty cool to get a lot of feedback from that because that was like one of my most popular videos out there. So that was pretty cool. But not only
Oh,
that,
that's awesome. Was that you? Oh, that was you that recorded it.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I
yeah.
didn't know who recorded it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I got a lot of people tweeting me, messaging me, emailing me. We got all these submissions for the next auction. So, for those users that are listening in, we're gonna try to have this every Friday
Every Friday, awesome.
at around 4. Yeah, every Friday. Yeah, the last one we had at 6 p.m., which was we're trying to accommodate global users. So 6 p.m. works well for most people. Of course, when you do work with the global community, it's hard to pick a perfect time. So 6 p.m. Was
And
pretty
that's
good.
PST, right?
Yeah, Pacific time. Yeah, so
Yeah,
California. Yeah, California. We're in California here. So we pushed it down to 4 p.m. for this Friday. We're gonna keep it at that for the foreseeable future. But remember to always go to our Twitter page to see the next auction time. But right now we're gonna stick with 4 p.m. Pacific time. And if you guys have a design NFT, reach out to me. Reach out to my team and just tell us why we should auction it for you. Tell us the story behind it, what made you create it, what's the vision behind it. Tell a good story because that's one thing I learned from the auction. The ones that have a good story tends to go for a higher
oh
price.
yeah,
So if you send me
absolutely.
an NFT,
I'm actually
yeah, I
curious.
didn't, I didn't. Really,
I'm
yeah,
curious, Khalid.
go ahead.
Can you did they also did everyone pay up the Raven coin or did some people just not pay up and just take off?
No, everybody paid for it. The only thing we learned from this experience is that we should have wrote here's how we originally envisioned it. Okay, people, the highest bidder pays for it. And then I told my team, which we were monitoring in real time. I said, whoever becomes the highest 5 bidders, go and ask them to come to a table so you can get their information. After I realized, what was happening is those 5 bidders, they didn't want to go to a table. They want to bid on the next one, right? So
Yeah,
they're like, don't take us away from the action. So I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Verbella has a feature or this digital world where you can do a private chat to that person. I should have thought about that earlier, but again, these things you learn as you try things out.
absolutely.
So yeah, so now what I'm going to do is, or what we are going to do is, the highest 2 bidders, we're going to message them a private chat. Hey, you are the highest bidder. Click on this link, fill out the form, so you can get your NFT. Just give them instructions.
That's awesome.
The reason why the top 2 is because just in case one of them came in there and he's just he's not really intending to buy and he's just kind of doing something not
Hmm.
right. Just a backup, but
Yeah,
we're gonna be vetting more bidders, make sure they are, But this one, it turned out very well.
yeah,
Everybody reached out
absolutely.
to us.
And I also want to plug in
Yeah.
plug this in too for the cryptonauts out there for everyone that's listening. That I expect here in the near future they're gonna join Braveland and hang out at these NFT auctions. Is that the funds that are basically fundraised through this NFT auction is actually donated to the Ravencoin Foundation to continue to develop the blockchain even more and the code more, right?
Yeah, so here's how it works. Remember, we want to support the artist, we want to support Ravencoin, we want to support developers, right? So there's many different people involved in this huge ecosystem. So without developers, it's Ravencoin Foundation, obviously, as you guys know, um, the funds they typically get is paid towards developers to build out the ecosystem. And we are also a developer ourselves for Ravencoin. We try to do a lot with Ravencoin. So the first auction, most of the NFTs went straight to Ravencoin Foundation, like the Mona Lisa, the 5,000 Ravencoin is sold for, went straight to the Ravencoin. The Project 33, that went all straight to Ravencoin Foundation. But artists also need to live. They also need to get inspired to bring in design. So what we're doing is we're working out so that everybody gets benefits from this new ecosystem of this auction. The artists get paid, Ravencoin Foundation benefits. We also are able to support this environment. Because it requires it requires like a team to make it coordinated, market it, promote it, collect the funds, send it to the right person, mint it. There's so many things involved. We had to.
Off the top of your head,
Yeah,
Khalid, what was the
yeah.
lowest selling NFT on last Friday?
I believe the lowest one was, I think it was 500 Raven coin,
Okay,
and the highest was 15,000 Raven coin. So
yeah.
I could be wrong on the lowest, but I know the highest was 15,000 Raven coin, which comes out to $3,000 as
So
of today's price,
so
or as of
15,
yesterday.
1,500 being the lowest, right?
500 being the
Oh,
lowest,
500, 500.
15,000. Yeah, when I say
Okay.
15,000, I mean Raven coin. So
Yeah.
that translates to, as of April 2021, $3,000 on that day is sold.
So
And I asked,
for the cryptonauts out
yeah,
there, this is how easy it is to get into this NFT auction. It's so easy. You download the Ravencoin QT. You use literally 5 Ravencoin to create your unique asset. Actually, Mike, go ahead, Mike. I know you're there, sleeping on the job. Where
Yeah.
you at? Go ahead and explain how
Definitely.
NFTs on Ravencoin are created. Explain to the listeners how easy it is.
Yeah, it's as easy as downloading the QT wallet or the mobile wallet and then putting in 500 Raven and minting an asset. And then from there, for
Is it
five
500?
additional Raven,
Okay, so
you
you have to
can
create a
mint.
main asset.
Yep. But there are people who offer services where they will mint an NFT for you.
So if you find these services, all you need is technically 5 Raven. You create your NFT and you flip that in the auction for as low, so far as of last week, as low as 500 Raven. That's 100x, right?
On a technical level.
Yeah.
yeah, it's very, yeah. I'm glad you guys mentioned that. So with Ethereum, last person that told me who's trying to mint something on Ethereum, it cost them $100.
Yeah.
So
This morning,
with
I was trying to
Ravencoin,
do a transaction this morning. It was going to cost me $200. Of course, I rejected
ooh,
that.
oh wow, yeah. So with Ravencoin, the nice thing about Ravencoin is the first NFT will cost you $100, but the second NFT costs you $1. The third costs you $1. The fourth costs you $1, right? So it gets proportionally cheaper as you create more. So the first one is always more expensive because you have to create an asset. So let's say you create an asset called tickets, right? I'm sure that name is already taken, but and then you go tickets forward slash Dodgers forward slash the serial number, the ticket number. So the forward slash, which is a sub asset, costs 100 Raven coin, and then the unique asset, which is NFT. Ravencoin called a unique asset for many years, and then the word NFT got really popular, just like the word Kleenex, even though it's tissue. It just the branding of the name got really
Or
popular. So
Q-tips.
even in our app, we're gonna rename it to NFT because we also use unique assets because um, that's what Ravencoin called it. And we were using the word issued, right? Issued is fine, but what's the popular word now? Minted, right?
Hmm.
So we just
Oh
trying to use
yeah.
the new vocabulary to so that way we don't have to explain to people. Because when I tell people, unique asset, he's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "NFT." Oh, I get it. I'm like, "Go ahead, issue the unique asset." He's like, "What do you mean issue? Mint it." Oh, I get it now, mint. So these are new terms people are using. We're trying to use the same words that are more popular. Yeah. So once you create your first NFT, you don't have to make a sub asset. But if you are trying to categorize it, then it's recommended to do a sub asset, and then of course you make your NFT after that.
So really quick, there's a question that I missed that I wanted to ask you about Stibits. It's quite interesting that you're obviously it's a company, but it's also a non-custodial wallet. Now the SEC is very strict on how crypto is being moved around. Is Are you required as a company to be KYC and AML compliant, or is it because it's non-custodial that you don't have to do that?
Okay, so that's a very good question. So we partner with a company called Simplex. Simplex does the KYC for us. So if you were to buy it, send it. Right now, the Ravencoin wallet itself, as you know, is non-custodial. But when you convert it to USD, then that's when the KYC, all that stuff kicks in. So as of right now, when I talk to some crypto lawyers or crypto legal people, some of their opinions are differ. Like Wyoming is more relaxed. California doesn't really has neutral words, because when I try to ask California, I'm like, do I need a money transfer license for this? They're like, we're not saying yes, we're not saying no. So they're not really specific on that. I email them trying to ask them like, what do we need for this? So and then as I was trying to solve this problem, trying to figure out, I want to make sure everything is covered so that we're doing things the correct way. So all these states have different laws, and one thing they were trying to say is that you need a money transfer license to do these wallets, non-custodial wallets. So I reached out to Tron. I said, hey, I asked him like, man, this money transfer license is a pain. Each state has different rules, and it's so super complicated. He said he just mentioned, well, I don't think you have to worry about that because non-custodial. He kind of threw that word at me, and I
Exactly.
said,
That's what I was kind of curious about. That's why I was trying to get your insight on that, because the wallet is
yeah,
non-custodial. You're not actually moving the money for the customer. The customer themselves is moving the money.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why when I asked some legal opinion, their opinions differ too, very greatly. They're giving me different answers. So, next thing we know is we by my co-founder, he says, hey, there's a company called Simplex. They do the KYC for you. They do all that stuff for you, so you don't have to touch it. Um, and I said, oh, really? So I looked into them, and there's a few of them like that. There's Simplex, there's Wise, there's MoonPay. Um, Obviously, these companies got super busy lately because of the
Yeah.
Bitcoin price going
Actually,
up.
I was going to mention that. So a lot of these companies that you're mentioning, I recognize them right off the bat. They are crypto friendly. They work with blockchain companies doing the KYC and AML. So, and I'm sure they're overwhelmed with all these companies going to them requesting their services.
Oh yes, yes, they are. MoonPay, they're all, it's luckily we got hold of them right before they got super busy. So Simplex, we integrated with Simplex, where you can buy Ravencoin, Bitcoin, and Bitcoin Cash using Simplex. So Simplex originally did not support Ravencoin, so we had to kind of educate them, or tell them, not I don't want to say the word educate, but tell them how to do it, because the way they're used to it, they usually reach out to the company. And as you know, Ravencoin is a little bit different than typical altcoins. There's no central authority; it's decentralized. There's no permission you ask, because they were asking me like, where should how can who should we talk to integrate Ravencoin? And we had to explain to them, it's like Bitcoin. You don't have to get permission from anybody. You just add it. So we just my team, my co-founder helped him integrate it. So Simplex now supports Ravencoin. Um, and then so now with Simplex, you can buy Ravencoin and the other cryptocurrencies as well. So they do all that stuff for us. They verify, they vet it. They take care of all that. They take care of all that
Here, here's an
part
idea.
of it.
Here's an
So we
idea.
just
Something for the
yeah.
Ravencoin NFT auction. Use the Stibits wallet. Everyone that's going to be part of the auction has to have a Stibits wallet. It's going to make the flow of transactions so much easier, and especially if it's going to be AML KYC, it's all taken care of right there. That's pretty cool. Just a thought. Just a
Yeah, that's
thought.
perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. Most of the NFTs that was purchased, I send it to them straight from the Stibits wallet. I just looked up their name and matched it up to their avatar name,
Hmm.
because most of them use the same. But of course, before I sent it, I confirmed it. I said, "Hey, is this you on Stibits? Is that your same name?" And when they said yes, I said, "Okay, NFTs on the way," because they had already paid, of course.
That's awesome.
Um, so it made it super easy. The one that did not have Stibits yet, which was typically, the Android users that are waiting for us to develop the Android version. which, by the way, listeners that are listening, by the time you may be hearing this, we may already have that. So make sure to check Android frequently. The Google Play, we may have it by then. But yeah, we I transferred the Trons NFT using Stibits. He just chose his name, pressed transfer. He got the NFT. I sent it to a few others like that. So yeah, within the Stibits, you can create NFTs, you can transfer NFTs, you can burn NFTs, you can do a lot of stuff with it. So it's built into it.
So right now you just have a web wallet, correct?
iOS app. iOS app. Yeah,
iOS. Okay.
it's native. Yeah, it's native app. Yeah. So yeah, the app inside Stibits is native. It's not web based. So you can basically what you do is once you open the app, you press Ravencoin, and then it'll say create asset or view asset. So for users that are for new users, you can either create it or you can transfer it from your Ravencoin wallet or somewhere else into Stibits, or you
Okay,
can
hold on.
transfer it out of
Actually,
Stibits.
here's a thought. I just thought of something. So Stibits is Ravencoin asset friendly. Is that my understanding?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so that means
exactly.
I
Yeah,
can transfer all my assets into Stibits and use that.
yeah, you can. Yeah, you can
Oh,
do it right now. Yeah,
that's
you can
awesome.
transfer it out, transfer
That's
it in.
awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, some people send me a few assets. I check them out, see what's going on. It's pretty cool. You can send it right back to them.
As a matter of fact, I am
Um,
going to send you some the podcast token. I have some C3 tokens that I give to my guests for being on the podcast for speaking, and
okay,
yes, I will be in touch with you in regards to that. Just make sure you leave me
that's
your
awesome.
Ravencoin address.
Yeah, yeah. I'll definitely email that to you after we get off the call here.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah,
Mike, do you have any last questions before we wrap this up?
Nothing popping to mind.
Awesome.
I'm excited to see the future of that app, especially when it's on Android.
Yeah, exactly. I have to wait till Android comes out. So I hope that comes out like now.
yeah, yeah. We're working on it. Hopefully sooner than later. So by the time when does this podcast go out? Is it the same day or is it like a week later?
um, it's probably gonna be today or tomorrow. We'll see when
Okay,
I
awesome.
get around
Yeah,
to it. So Khalid,
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to let me go ahead and wrap this
Yeah.
up. I'm gonna thank you. I want to thank your partner Ben, your co-founder Ben, and the rest of the team for creating the Stibits platform.
Yeah, thank you
And
so
I
much
hope
for
to have you
having
back
me.
on the podcast very soon. And I am definitely going to see you on Friday at the Braveland Ravencoin NFT auction.
Yeah,
That's pretty long. So I'll
yeah.
see you there. With that said, Cryptonauts. Hey Jake, how's it going? With that said, stack sats and hodl.
All
Adios.
right. All right. Take care. Thank you so much.